Coming up on Tribal News, we'll learn a new course offered at Lenape called Project Lead the Way, created for students who are interested in pursuing careers in engineering. Then, we'll take an exclusive look at the Documentary Film Festival that took place in March, where students shared their films with family and friends on the big screen. Later, we'll hear from our reporters about the various spring sports teams and how each of their seasons went. Plus, you won't want to miss our school life correspondent, Megan Corey, who is here with some of the most memorable events of the spring season. That and more coming up on this Spring 2017 edition of Lenape Tribal News, which begins right now.
Hello, and welcome to Lenape Tribal News. I'm Kelly Donahue alongside Shannon Lambert. These past few months of spring have been alive and full of success at our school. Students at Lenape have been participating in a diverse array of after-school clubs and activities, and the amount of involvement from students of all ages and backgrounds has been truly unbelievable.
You couldn't be more right, Kelly. What do we have to start us off?
Here in the Lenape district, students who are interested in engineering have the ability to enroll in the Project Lead the Way course. Let's take a closer look at what this program is really all about. Matt?
Project Lead the Way, or PLTW, is a program new to the Lenape district as of the 2014-15 school year. It is a program geared towards students interested in engineering. The program is broken down into 4 courses based on the ideas of science, technology, engineering, and math. At Lenape, the courses are taught by one of 2 teachers, Mr. Scott or Mr. Condurso. The program begins with a course called Introduction to Engineering, then moves to the computer aspects of design and manufacturing in the second-year course. The third course focuses on the basic principles commonly used in engineering. And in their final year, Project Lead the Way students analyze a real-life problem and work to develop a solution using the concept learned in the previous years. This final course is a college-level class that gives students experience working with mentors and other professionals in the engineering field. Mr. Condurso is the teacher of the first-year course, Introduction to Engineering Design, as well as the fourth-year course, Engineering Design and Development. This is his 3rd year teaching the program's curriculum. With the addition of the incoming freshman class, there will be students enrolled in all 4 of the courses.
Anybody that's interested in working with their hands or building things, taking things apart, interested in how things work, engineering, it would be a good class for them. This class can benefit students in the future in a lot of ways. Gives them a strong foundation in technical skills that they could use for just problem solving. But it can also help. There's an articulation program with colleges, so they could get preferred acceptance and/or college credit in a college. And there's also a program in conjunction with AP scores that they could get some additional accolades.
Project Lead the Way classes are held in a classroom tailored specifically for the program. The room was designed with the curriculum's unique focus on technology and engineering in mind. Learning is not restricted only to the materials found online and provided by the organization. Students also have access to building tables, 3D printers, high-tech software, and other real-world engineering tools. Students enrolled in this program utilize the resources provided to them to expand their knowledge in the STEM areas. Holly Ann Clements is enrolled in Project Lead the Way. She will complete the Computer Integrated Manufacturing course this year, which is the 2nd course of the program.
In this class, there's not really one typical day. Sometimes we're doing challenges, sometimes we're on the computers. A lot of times we're using programs such as RoboCell and Inventor, which are computer-based programs. You're not working at a desk. Each student has their own computer and desktop, so your workspace is more computer-based rather than working out of a notebook with a pencil and paper. You're not going to be sitting in the class being lectured for a period because you're constantly doing new things.
PLTW, now in its 3rd year, has opened up many possibilities for students in the Lenape district who are interested in engineering. We would like to thank Holly Ann Clements and Mr. Condurso for their contributions to our story. For Tribal News, I'm Matt Higgins. Now back to the studio.
Peer Group Connection is a program that helps freshmen connect with the upperclassmen on a friendly basis. The program gives students of all ages a safe place to talk while also preparing the underclassmen for their next 4 years of high school. Here's Danielle Castile with the scoop.
3 times a year, freshman health and PE classes are exposed to a different kind of lesson, and PGC makes that possible. Peer Group Connection, a program to give the students a break from the constant day-to-day work and gets them involved in team-building exercises, also opens a chance to understand what high school holds through advice from upperclassmen. Peer Group Connection is a program that helps the students interact with upperclassmen. During one class period, students get to ask questions that they feel the teachers cannot answer. For example, was the transition from middle school hard? Were you scared? Will it get harder? Easier? How can I handle all the work? It seems like so much. Colin Day has participated in PGC for the past 2 school years and is also in Foundations of Leadership, an elective offered to give chances for students to learn how to be a leader. He works together with other PGC members to make life in the upcoming years for future students simpler and easier by creating new games and activities for the club. Colin tries to find new ways for students to interact with each other with a series of icebreakers and activities. For example, at the last 10 minutes of class, the upperclassmen pass out note cards and tell the underclassmen that they can ask any questions, if they need any advice for time management, study skills, etc.
PGC has a huge impact on me, like seeing kids' reactions toward different types of bullying events. I'm able to notice if something's wrong or something's right. And I like how I can express myself and we can all talk, and there's no teachers, so it's just private, and I enjoy that very much.
Students might view PGC differently from teachers because of the role switch. The students become the teacher. PGC not only benefits the students, but also brings the classes closer together through team building. Colin Mills is a freshman and has experienced PGC through the school year. He has contributed to the different activities during the lesson, and it has had an impact on him in high school already.
The note card questions I felt went really well with what they were doing, because instead of I guess writing your name down on the card and having it more anonymous, people could get their questions off a little bit more easier without being singled out for it.
In the end, the students have experienced a chance to work together and possibly even connect with other peers. They both anticipate the future of the program because of the positive changes for students. Now back to the studio.
In March, club members of Women of the World, Gay Straight Alliance, and the African American Club came together for a joint meeting to talk about societal issues. Ariana Tolentino has more information.
Besides the many sports and activities at Lenape, students have the choice to become members of clubs that benefit the student body. These activities allow students to share new ideas, opinions, and thoughts on how to increase equality within the school. In March, WOW, GSA, and African American Club held their second joint meeting to talk about current social issues and how each of them can make a difference in school.
And in terms of WOW Club, I kind of came around to the idea of feminism when I was a sophomore in high school. I was kind of guided by my cheer coach, Miss Purvis, and she was starting a new club with senior girls, and so I decided to come and just hear what they had to say. And I didn't identify as a feminist at that time, but after sitting and hearing what a lot of the older students had to say, I then knew that I identified as a feminist, and I also really wanted to push for the equality of all people, no matter of gender, race, sexual orientation. I was just all for feminism, and so that led me to becoming more involved with WOW and eventually organizing our joint meeting, which I think was really great.
Common goal is to make everybody feel welcome, because African American Club isn't just about being black, it's about unity, pretty much. It's like, hey, we're trying to let everybody know about our culture, like what we stand for. Same thing with GSA. You don't have to be gay to join it, but if you support it, then you can join. Asian Club, you can join it because you like the culture. There's stuff like that. You don't have to be that race or sexual preference.
Many people believe that these 3 clubs are directed towards specific groups of people, when in actuality they are for everyone and anyone. Just like any other groups or activities at Lenape, these clubs are all for acceptance and have the common goal of making teens feel safe, welcomed, and ensuring everyone's voice is heard. Sophomore Layla Salam is a strong influence in the WOW Club and wants to make an impact at school before she leaves, knowing that she helped inspire more people to embrace who they are and what they believe in to hopefully better humanity.
We think it's pretty strong. We have a lot of members at WOW as well with GSA and African American Club, but we would love to have more people, especially more males, join to understand that women issues don't only affect women, they affect males too. So that's how we feel like we could stretch our outreach.
Imani Burton, a junior, created the beneficial idea of having all 3 clubs come together for one big meeting and have members from each club share their stories and thoughts on certain topics that impact each minority. The first joint meeting was held earlier this year, which turned out to be a stepping stone of involvement for everyone who participated and led students to having a stronger bond with one another.
For one thing, like our last meeting, we talked about allyship, so I think the fact that we are talking about how we can help each other is really going to help each other. So for one thing, we announced each club when each club's next meeting was going to be. So the next time we went to a GSA meeting, there was definitely a lot of turnout from African American Club and from WOW Club because, you know, once you see all of us working together in one place, you're like, I want more of that. Let me go to your specific club meeting and really help you out.
The joint meeting got everyone's minds thinking and left those who attended the meeting the message to be an ally to anyone who can't speak up. These clubs will continue to strive for equality and to connect the Lenape family together. We would like to thank McKenna Sampson, Chase Campbell, Layla Salam, and Imani Burton for representing the clubs. For Tribal News, I'm Ariana Tolentino. Now back to the studio.
The boys lacrosse team took a huge hit with the loss of many seniors last year. However, many of the younger players on the team have stepped up to the plate. For more on the boys lacrosse team, we go to Jack Flatley.
Following a deep playoff run by the boys lacrosse team last season, this season was looked to be as a rebuilding year due to the loss of many key seniors. However, with the help of some key sophomores and juniors, they were still able to contend. Last year's season was one to remember for the Indians. A 16-2 regular season earned them the 2nd seed in the playoff bracket, where they were able to beat Olympic Conference rivals Washington Township and Cherokee, as well as Kingsway and Freehold, before ultimately losing to Montgomery in the sectional championship. Many players who played in that championship game returned this season. Bryce Reese is a sophomore varsity player for the Indians. Since he played on the varsity team as a freshman, he understands the rules and what the team will have to do in order to be successful without last year's senior class.
I think it's just bringing the same mentality as we had last year, keeping the same goals, pushing for the same objective, just keep up the same intensity, same hard work. Just if you keep everything the same as it was last year, we'll be fine no matter what age or what year.
Lenape has many key sophomore and junior players helping contribute to the team this year. In his first year starting, Bryce Reese stepped up to become a huge offensive weapon. Also, sophomore Rob Pensabeni made a huge impact starting in his first year as varsity goalie. Junior Matt Ingersoll also took back his role as an offensive leader and helped the Indians win many games. Will Mercado was a sophomore and was a varsity player as a freshman last season as well. He experienced much more playing time this season and started for the Indians too. He knew what changes he needed to make in order to have a stronger contribution.
Oh yeah, definitely the big difference from last year to this year was the loss of all the seniors, and I mean almost the entire starting line was seniors last year, and the biggest difference for me was trying to step up and contributing way more than I was last year. I mean usually last year I would go in as a freshman usually when we were killing teams, but now that I have a little bit more reliability, I'm able to fill in for the seniors from last year and step up into their spot.
With the input of many sophomores and juniors that have made serious contributions to the team, the future looks nothing but bright for the Indians. Thank you to Bryce Reese and Will Mercado for their contributions to the story and the team. For Tribal News, I'm Jack Flatley. Now back to the studio.
I just want to congratulate the boys lacrosse team again on an amazing season. Despite losing their last game in the championships against Montgomery, I know they fought very hard and played their best.
Yeah, I think all the participation from all the underclassmen was really incredible, and they really showed how a team could look like family. The Lenape boys tennis team brought home a sectional title this year after a thriving and action-packed season. Let's send it over to Brandon Maddox outside the South Gym to talk some more about the players.
Although tennis is an individual sport, the team's chemistry played a big role in bringing the team together to work as one. The great chemistry has resulted in great success, earning a better record after each season. The tennis team's structure and camaraderie have given the team much success over the past few seasons. All players compete against one another throughout practice, before and during the season to determine their doubles partner and rank on the team. The top 3 ranked players compete in the singles competition. With the majority of the players on the team playing doubles, it allows the players to develop a good relationship with their partner. Sophomore Max Gordon currently plays on junior varsity. He enjoys being a part of the team and having coaches who are trying to make him a better player during the season.
It didn't come until this past summer, summer my freshman year, where I was like, yo, I want to go play tennis. So got some tennis lessons, got back into playing, and then started playing a lot, tried out for the team. Primarily, everybody on a team is important as the next guy, and really it doesn't matter where you are on the ladder and where you rank and how good you are.
At every practice, each player does their warm-up and stretching together as a team, other than on their own. Despite a long and intense season every year, the team's relationship with one another proved to be vital to the team's success. Mr. Carnevale, the assistant coach of the team, works well with the head coach, Mr. Guerrera. Players say the coaches' relationship with each other, as well as the players, translate to the team's success.
Actually, he was my mentor when I first started teaching here, so we developed a relationship before we started coaching together, and this is our 9th season coaching together, so we have this very similar coaching styles, and we're usually on the same page about decisions that we have to make. So it's been a great relationship. As a former player, I know where they're at. I understand how frustrating it can be. I understand how rewarding it can be with a win. I can relate, having been in their shoes. Every season is different. You get a new group of players in each year. Different players graduate each year. So it's figuring out your new lineup, especially with doubles pairs. So it's always something different every season.
Overall, the tennis team offers a very positive atmosphere, while the players still have a very competitive attitude during practice and games. We wish the best to the boys' tennis team for future seasons. We'd like to thank Max Gordon and Mr. Carnevale for volunteering to be interviewed. Now back to the studio.
Learning how to drive is an important part of growing up and something many teenagers look forward to doing. The Driver's Education program at Lenape is designed to help students prepare to be behind the wheel. We take it to Anthony Corby with more information on this important class.
Driver's Education is a class in which students learn the rules of the road and how to safely drive a vehicle. Every school in New Jersey is required to run a driver's education program, and Lenape's program includes the class itself, simulators to help students learn, and even an extracurricular club. Driver's Education is a one-semester course that serves as a sophomore year health class. In the class, students are taught about the dangers of driving under the influence, distracted driving, road rage, among other topics. To supplement what students learn in the classroom, the Driver's Education Club, which started in 2010, was established to promote safe driving. The simulators provide students with the opportunity to experience behind-the-wheel driving. Miss Cummins, one of 4 driver's education teachers, believes that the class is very important.
I think it's important so you learn all the different aspects of driving. You learn signs, signals, roadway markings, you learn how to communicate with other people, and most importantly, you learn how to drive a car.
Students must hold a permit for 6 months before taking their license road test, which is obtained when a student has passed the written test at the end of the course and has completed 6 hours of behind-the-wheel instruction. Students study for the test by reading the manual and studying in-class notes. Meredith McGrath is a sophomore and is currently in driver's ed. She studied hard to make sure she would pass.
I not only do my work in the class during driver's ed, I also have 2 manuals. I have an app on my phone which I like to study from. I feel like it helps me a lot more.
Driver's education is an important class. Though it only lasts 1 semester, the skills students learn will help them throughout their entire life. Thank you, Mrs. Cummins and Meredith McGrath, for letting us interview you. I'm Anthony Corby, reporting for Tribal News.
After months of hard work, the TV Broadcasting 3 students were finally able to debut their documentaries on the big screen in front of all their friends and family. For more on the film festival, here's Nick Morse.
The pinnacle of the Television Broadcasting 3 course is the short documentary project. Students pick a topic of interest, schedule and record their own interviews, and edit their own project. All their students' hard work goes on to the Documentary Film Festival. Mr. Evison is a television broadcasting technology 3 teacher who has been helping the students along the way.
The biggest thing about the documentary is managing time and managing a production. So there's a lot of components. In the past, they have learned to conduct research, they've learned to find interview sources and write a script and things like that in terms of news production. But this is not news, it's a film. So you're telling a different kind of story. But the difference this year is they're doing it on their own. Whereas in the past, they had a partner to work with, at least a partner. So to be able to manage finding a story, finding contacts, really writing that script and scheduling these interviews, recording everything independently, that's the biggest takeaway. So it's time management, and it's being able to really, from beginning to end, on your own, produce a film.
Emily Rodano, a TV3 student, spent a lot of time on her documentary and has some advice for students interested in filmmaking.
Pick something to make film about that you're passionate about, because when you put your whole heart and your whole soul into this whole project, it really makes it that much more rewarding when you finish it. Like, I'm so proud of mine because I've literally dedicated all my time to it. So I think just pick something you're passionate about and really go for it.
Even though the film festival and the process of making these documentaries are over, the students will still keep the experience and knowledge gained throughout it. They'll also still be able to enter their films in festivals and contests throughout the next year. I'd like to thank Mr. Evison and Emily Rodano for their contribution to the documentaries and our story. From Tribal News, I'm Nick Morse. Now back to the studio.
Now our school life correspondent, Megan Corey, joins us in the studio for some of the best highlights of the spring season.
Megan?
Thanks, Shannon and Kelly. The saying, April showers bring May flowers, was true for the spring season of 2017, except on April 30th, where the nice weather bloomed through the clouds for the day as the students gathered on the Lenape track for the annual Kevin Todd Memorial AIDS Walk. Both Lenape students and community members participated in many games and activities while supporting a wonderful cause. Through this walk and the NHS Carnival event, $1,700 was donated to the Spirit of the Holidays organization. This organization was founded by Kevin Todd's sister, Lisa O'Neill, in order to honor him and his memory by providing for those families living below the poverty line in South Jersey. The seniors and I had an amazing time in the Crystal Ball Tea Room in Philly for our 2017 prom. The night of my 12th was as spectacular as imagined. Dancing, colorful lights, limos, pictures, and flawless looks. May 18th was the annual art show. Students displayed their work of many types of art forms that included web design, animation, music, photography, graphic design, metalworking, woodworking, and fashion design. A special congratulations to Best in Show winner Brad Houlihan for his bald eagle piece called America. On May 23rd, the boys tennis team took home the title of the 2017 All-South Jersey Group 4 champions. A huge congrats to the boys on this stunning victory. The final ceremony is the class of 2017's graduation. The school will wish each and every student the best of luck for their future endeavors on June 16th. Congrats, grads. We hope the clouds will clear and the sun will shine bright on your special day. Well, that's all we have for student events this year. Now back to you, Shannon and Kelly.
Thank you, Megan. The boys' spring track team had a good run this season under new head coach Sean McEnany. Ryan Jones is here with all of the team's highlights.
Preparation is the key for any track team that's looking to succeed. Everyone prepares differently, but the Lenape boys track team does it properly. Many students participate in boys track and field, and everyone's preparation varies depending on event and skill level. Some of the first-year players don't prepare at the same level as the more seasoned players because they think it's not necessary. But the seasoned players know the risk that can lead to injury and have several techniques to become ready. Making sure to eat carbs and be stretched out is a necessity. Sophomore sprinter Matt Dorner competes in 4 different events, which requires a great deal of preparation and practice.
So the way I prepare for any really track meet is I'll make sure to get proper rest the night before the meet, and I'll make sure to have a good meal the night before the meet as well. For bigger meets, such as like a sectional championship, I'll make sure to have a lot of carbs, like pasta, and then maybe in the morning have some carbs like waffles or something. That really keeps the muscles going for running. Freshman year, I definitely didn't do it as much in the meets than I do now, obviously, because I get better. So for preparation, I definitely have to make sure to get enough rest and to eat the right stuff, because if I don't, then I won't be able to do the 3 events rather than 1 or 2 than I would do freshman year.
Members of the track and field team exhibit dedication at all times as pushes others, whether the throwers are in the weight room building up their strength or the runners are on the track working on their condition. The team is always working hard to always be prepared for meets and learn new techniques. They try to do their best when they are on the track or out throwing. Senior sprinter Miles Penny is one of the leaders on the team. He takes the team through the warm-ups and gets them ready to work and have the right mindset for every meet. As he went through his years of track, his preparation has changed drastically.
I usually go through a whole dynamic stretch first, and static stretch as well. And then I do a couple of striders before the race, usually about anywhere between 4 or 6, just to get me loosened up. And I always have my headphones in, playing my music as I'm doing all that stuff as well. Definitely, like when we have dual meets, when it's like a 4x4 at the end, I'm not usually as focused because I'm just trying to get done and go home. But when it comes to bigger meets like sectionals or states or invitationals or opens, stuff like that, I'm definitely a lot more focused. In tune to my race. I think about my race all the time as to what points I will kick or what points I will speed up a little bit or do what I have to do to finish the race and stuff like that. So I'm definitely a lot more in tune and focused as to what I got to do in the race.
The team will keep pushing themselves and others to be the best they can be at all aspects of track and field. I would like to thank Miles Penny and Matt Durner for this perspective.
The track and lacrosse teams here at Lenape are well known for their teamwork and dedication. But what about golf? For more on the Lenape golf team, we go to Kyle Bauer in College Hall.
The Lenape golf team has been around for many years and has shown much success in competitions. The members of this team have to work together, not as individuals, but as a team to progress in their personal skill and in these competitions. When this year's golf season began, the team got to work immediately, having multiple practices throughout the week with members asking for assistance from the coach and asking for help from each other to improve their game. This ability to effectively work as a team allowed them to progress further in golf than they would have as individuals practicing alone. A large part of this ability to progress and succeed is through a well-managed and well-trained team. Mr. Foley is the head coach and has been providing the team just that for the past 13 years.
We like to start small, so we look at putting and chipping first because it's a place where you can really improve your score, and then we kind of work our way out to the longer clubs, to the driver. But with teenagers, taking the right mental approach to the game is also very important. Understanding that golf's a very demanding and challenging game and that not every shot's going to be perfect. So if you can kind of put the bad ones behind you and always look forward, that's going to help you. My favorite part about being the coach is, just coaching in general. I've coached many sports here, but getting to know kids on a different level and in a different atmosphere. Athletics is a little different than the classroom. You can go out on the golf course and we can be a little bit more relaxed and you get to know kids more on a personal level.
Whether it be a senior or a freshman, the golf members improve by helping each other in their golfing experience. This can be seen after every practice by the large improvements of the member scores. Kyle Long is a sophomore who has been with the Lenape golf team for the past 2 years. He has become more experienced in the sport and is constantly improving his game with the help of his teammates and his coach.
As we prepare for the season, we always cheer each other on. If someone's not doing so well, we always give each other tips on how we could get better. Like, let's say someone didn't get a good drive from the beginning and it hooks left or right, or suddenly just goes as a U-turn. We always try to give them tips on how they could change their positioning when they're hitting the ball or their technique to try to get them to hit it farther. Well, being on the Lenape golf team is just fun. I mean, it can be frustrating when you don't play well, which is you got to get over it, but it's fun to just play a game of golf with people that you like to hang out, talk to, that kind of stuff. Plus, I grew up the past couple years playing golf, so it's also a sport that I like to play than other sports, so that's pretty much what I like about it.
Through the Lenape golf team, members have advanced further in their golfing skill than they would have alone. We would like to thank Mr. Foley and Kyle Long for the contribution to our newscast. For Tribal News, I'm Kyle Bauer. Back to the studio.
Metal Shop is one of the many electives offered here at Lenape, but not many students know what the class entails. To give us a better idea of what Metal Shop is all about, we send it to Andrew DeCord.
Metal Shop is a class offered at Lenape. Some students take the class because they're interested in pursuing a career in metal, while others take the class because it's just a fun elective. The students learn how to safely use the equipment provided. Mr. Scott, the head of the metal department, is responsible for teaching the kids how to safely use the equipment so there are no injuries. Before Mr. Scott can allow any students to work with the equipment, he must make sure they know how to properly operate the equipment. If the machinery is improperly used, it can become very dangerous. They must also know how to take the proper precautions, such as wearing safety goggles. Mr. Scott is the only teacher who teaches Metal Shop, so he is left with the responsibility in making sure every student gets enough time using the equipment needed for each project. He also makes sure that students use the machinery safely.
When they come in here, I have to expect that they don't know really much about metalworking or anything in the class at all. So I basically come in there and show them from start to finish. A lot of it's a judgment call on what the technique is. So if I feel like the whole class is able to see what I'm doing, I'll bring them all up at once, and then I do a physical demonstration. If it's something that has like a lot of knobs, and if they get into like just from the proximity of them being as a whole class, I do it in a more isolated group with maybe 2 or 3 of them. I even have videos that I shoot so that we can zoom into things and then they can slow it down, so if they're doing it 2 weeks from now and they can't remember. A lot of them have a lot of steps to them, so that way they can go back and use the video and just check my YouTube channel to, see how to do it later. So.
Metalworking is a comprehensive course that involves experience in the metalworking area, including sheet metal construction, foundry, bench metal, ornamental ironwork, arc and gas welding, and machining. Metal Shop is a really great elective for students interested in metalworking and the industrial arts. We would like to thank Mr. Scott and Dylan Benson for contributing to our story. For Tribal News, I'm Andrew DeCord. Now, back to the studio.
Lenape's Gaming Club has proven that school doesn't always have to be all about studying and tests. This after-school activity gives students a fun place to unwind and enjoy themselves amidst all of school stresses. For more on that, we go to Garrett Rogers.
Lenape offers students much more than just their daily classes. Among the extracurricular activities, Gaming Club stands out as a place where students can get away from the academic environment. Within Gaming Club, students can relax and play different types of games, from card games to board games, but especially video games. Within the club, students can participate in video game tournaments. The tournaments allow students to compete by playing different types of video games. There's a different game selected every tournament, and members are exposed to new genres. Some include fighting, racing, speedrunning, and puzzle solving. The availability of different games ensures that each member has a new and exciting experience each time they play. Mr. Moore is the Gaming Club advisor. He helps to create and monitor these tournaments, ensuring everybody plays fair and has a good time.
So Gaming Club is a group of students who come together after school, and they play all kinds of games. A lot of people think it's just video games, but it includes Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, board games, and of course standard video games. It got started last year when 3 seniors came to me and said that they wanted to start the club, and they wanted to get people involved in gaming, and it's been pretty popular ever since.
Tournament participants are set up into a bracket and compete against each other. The winning student moves up the bracket to take on other winners. This happens until the final 2 participants remain and go against each other, determining the champion. Ethan Wen, a member of the club, has participated in multiple tournaments and knows what it's like to be in the heart of the competition.
Basically, you get a bunch of kids, or like a bunch of players. You pit them against each other, normally in maybe groups of 2, groups of 4, depending on what the game is. And then you just work your way up. You defeat other people, and you try to get to the top and then become number 1. Gaming was actually a big part in my life. It's my favorite pastime, and it just evolved and just grew on me that this was a great opportunity to share experiences with other gamers who share my interests.
Gaming tournaments bring all the members together for a fun experience and a great time through friendly competition. I'm Garrett Rogers, Tribal News.
That's all for our Spring 2017 edition of Lenape Tribal News. We'd like to thank all of our interview subjects and reporters for bringing us the news stories featured in this episode. Before we close, I'd like to give a special thanks to Shannon and Megan since this is their last time hosting the show. We wish you both the best of luck next year at college and in the future.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I still can't believe this is my last show, and I just want to thank everyone in LTV and Mr. Ebbison for giving me the opportunity to host Tribal News for the past 2 years. It's truly been an honor. So for everyone here in the studio and Kelly Donahue, I'm Shannon Lambert, and have a wonderful summer.